Murphy's Law, just as I'm about to start filming, some turkey comes along and starts doing manual labour at lunchtime. It makes it sound like they're doing an incredibly difficult method of it as well, just banging and banging and banging. It's like, bro, get a chainsaw, please. It'll be over quicker. But that's pretty rich coming from me when I'm about to do something needlessly complicated. This is going to be fun. And the duck train rolls on. Yet another duck video. I'm so sorry. Today we're doing Jemima puddle duck bacon. Got a couple of beautiful duck breasts right here. What we're going to do with those is we're going to mix it in with a bit of sugar, some brown sugar, which is apparently good for rich fruit cakes and gingerbread, but I don't know if they exactly intended it to go into a bacon recipe, but here we go. Got a pepper, a little bit of salt, some rosemary, going to get that all nice and chopped up, and then this stuff that makes me feel like I'm a bomb expert. I'm not a bomb expert, this is not a bomb. This is duck bacon, Prague powder, #1. A little bit of that is going to make sure that I don't end up in hospital. So, all of that's going to get all mixed up, rubbed all over, put in a bag, and then it's going to go into my fridge for a couple of weeks. But, yeah, my fridge is, well, it's better I show you. Welcome to my fridge tour. My fridge here, situated between this cupboard here with toilet paper and paper towels, and my washing machine right here. Perfect British placement. Also, right next to the kitchen table. I love it, easy access. As you can see, this fridge over the years has developed a nice patina. Even the plastic, which I assume was white, has now developed this beautiful yellow color. I love it. And as you can see, it's like Rick Moranis has taken a big fridge and made it a small fridge. Now, as you can see, there's not a huge amount of space in here. So, generally speaking, having 2 duck breasts taking up space in a fridge for 2 weeks, not quite ideal, but that's why the bacon has to be bloody good. If it's not, I'll blame the fridge. So this is the Prague powder, in case you haven't seen it before. It is bright pink, and I assume that's a safety issue for the same reason they sort of dye mineral turpentine purple. Don't eat it. Nothing really. I mean, to be honest, that looks like watermelon granita. So, but I think you'd try it and smell it and know that it's definitely not that. But apparently you can do it without this. But I'm really not willing to take the risk. I've had the squits before, and yeah, not gonna do that again. Mexico, I'm looking at you. So here, scoring the meat will allow us to get a bit of penetration into the fat. Doesn't have to be deep, just straight in. Like that. So basically that is looking pretty good. Now you got a lot of dry ingredients going on in there. So what's going to actually happen is those dry ingredients are going to start sucking a bit of the moisture out of the duck. It's a process called osmosis. So once that moisture comes out, it's going to make it easier for everything to sort of seep back into those flavors to create its own marinade basically. So over the next 2 weeks, that'll be sort of like juicing it up, slowly getting sort of more and more flavorsome. And then that Prague powder should make sure we don't have anything growing on our meat. But you can already see the juices are starting to percolate. So it's all bagged up. So now this goes in the fridge, and then every couple of days I'm going to flip it over. Flip it, flip it, flip it. Keep that marinade circulating in the bag, keep things nice and even. Bloody. Now you may be thinking that I am absolutely mowing through this episode of We'll See How We Go. Yes, this is true, but also this is not just an episode of We'll See How We Go. This is also an episode of kinetic energy, heat and time. You see, once these duck breasts have been sitting there percolating over a decent period of time in the fridge, they're going to be absorbing all those beautiful flavors, but they're going to be missing that final step. And here's what it's going to be. Frankensmoker is back. Yes, the original indoor version of the Frankensmoker, made with an IKEA wrench, blowtorch and a computer fan that gave unexpectedly delicious results, and possibly carcinogenic. But this time, he was getting an upgrade. It's been over 2 weeks, and to be honest with you, I almost forgot about this beautiful duck here. I'd been sitting in the fridge. I half expected to pull it out and to find a whole bunch of awful things growing on it, but it smells pretty damn good. Got a lot of rosemary, a bit of peppery hit to it. Still quite sweet, but the texture, it needs a bit of a rinse, get a bit of the excess stuff off it, and also get a bit of that Prague powder off. So once that's been rinsed, it's going to get put on the rack that I've wedged inside here, and I'm going to plug that in. And this time with Frankensmoker, I've made something a little different. Well, I haven't made this. I bought this. It's like a aluminium tube situation. So that is going to offset the smoke a little bit. So we're going to be relying on the fan to draw in a whole lot more smoke from a greater distance. So that's going to get taped onto the side, and we're going to use that with just a bit of masking tape and some tin foil. And then the smoke source is going to be the same as before. Got some oak chips here, 2 tea lights, and a little tray suspended above on my concave splatter guard. It's going to get piped on through, and we're going to smoke the living daylights out of this duck, and it's going to be delicious. But first, we'll give this a rinse. I rinse it to get rid of all the particulates. By this stage, they've given me everything I need already. Now it's time to bring the Frankensmoker back for its swan song. Cable ties are a man's best friend. A tinfoil shroud to ensure that the smoke is guided into the right place, and then Frankensmoker 2.0 is born. A freak show if I ever saw one. As per the last episode, I used tea lights to get my smoke going, but they kept going out. Something with a little more force was needed. Success. A few holes to patch up, this Frankensmoker was at optimum performance. Look at it go. A thing of glory, smoky beauty. Of course, Frankensmoker, being the ambitious creature it is, Icarized itself, flying too close to the sun. One last trimming of its wings, and we were back in action. So as you can see, my duck has taken on a beautiful, succulent, brownish sort of colour. smells of smoke and a little bit of sweetness. So what we're going to be doing with that duck is we'll be putting it in the oven around about 100 degrees Celsius for an hour. We're just going to sort of give it a very, very light roasting, render a little bit of the fat, a little bit of that liquid fat. And then once that's done, let it cool down, slice it up, and ready for duck bacon. Have a think about what to cook with it. Should be an interesting one, that's for sure. So I'm extremely happy with that. We've even got a little bit of bark on the underside as well. So let's just face it, the Frankensmoker works. I'm not sure how carcinogenic it is in terms of like plastic. I know that's not a good idea, but I don't have the equipment to do any metal work. So if anyone wants to make a box for me with a computer fan tied to it, it'd be very, very helpful. So it's interesting, you can see here this streak through the middle of like, it almost looks like it's cooked, but it can't be because it's barely been heated up. But as you can see, like the fibers sort of like separate, so it does really sort of like interesting looking bacon. So what I might do is I'll give it a flash in the pan and see whether it's edible. It smells good though. So we've got a little bit of cooked duck bacon here. That's better than lamb bacon. It's a bit drier though. I assume that's because I used duck breast. But you can see like there's not much, obviously not much fat in the actual muscle, and you're relying on this little fat cap here to give you a good hit. But if you don't cook that too much, just a flash fry, that sweetness goes really, really well with the duck. The rosemary is just coming through and the smokiness sort of sits on top of it like a glaze. It's very, very tasty. I'm just thinking what this could go with. It's such a delicious flavor. You wouldn't want to hide it in like a BLT or something like that, or would it be a DLT? I'm not sure. You probably want to have it sitting a little bit more prominently. Have a slightly thicker cut, like that, almost like a duck bacon steak. Maybe a couple of bits of those, a little bit of a really, really gentle puree, and yeah, that's got me thinking. Using what was on hand, cauliflower and garlic were pressured into a puree along with spinach. To go with it, a super easy pomegranate syrup, thyme distillate water, and salt sauce. Nice tangy addition to cut through the fat. All of this served with chunks of luscious duck bacon, and served with spinach salt and a gooey brie to melt over top. So the absolutely delicious result of this sticky, tender, herbally bacon is just a punchy breakfast with a glorious cheesy element to it. It's almost like eating charcuterie, but in like a full meal type. This is so easy as well. Just a little bit of pomegranate syrup, a little bit of what's that? Thyme distillate water. It's fragrant, it's delicious. I really recommend giving that one a go. And so, just as the tide ebbs and flows, so does equipment. I think that perhaps Frankensmoker has had its day. It's quite a bit of meltage going on here. I mean, it could live to see another day, but it's just the fan's buggered, and really, health-wise, I think melting plastic every time I want to smoke meat's probably, it's never been the smartest idea, let's face it. But with every death, there's life, and there should be a new one of these at some point. Just a lot, hopefully a lot better made. You have done well, good sir.